Folks, you know what great teams do? They take care of business. And that's exactly what the Golden State Warriors are doing. I'm not saying they're a great team yet. But like I said, if a team is quality, if a team is legit, they beat the teams they're supposed to beat. And look, the one loss against the Clippers, that could have very easily been a case of the Warriors not only underestimating a very good team, but just coming up against a team that's grossly underrated. They swept the Pelicans. They dominated the first two games. Strength in numbers is real. The excitement is palpable. Let's break down an inside job tonight, meaning Trayce Jackson-Davis, meaning Draymond Green. Jonathan Kuminga is continuing to turn the season around after a slow start. Things are good. If you're feeling nice about things, Dub Nation, it's justified. Feel good. Feel great. The Warriors are winning. All is right in the world. Let's get into it. It's the Golden Days.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win. It was a pretty crazy night.
Woo! Let's go. In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Come on and break me off. 'Cause I get what I want and I like what I see. If you got
Oh, yeah, baby. Hey there. Let the young ones eat. Welcome to the Golden Days. I am your host for this evening, Cyrus Saatsaz, going solo. The next time we do a post-game show, I'm elated that Paulie Mac's going to join the program. But for tonight, thank you for joining me. Thank you to everyone for making this show what it is. It's a party. It's a celebration on a night like this when the Golden State Warriors complete a back-to-back sweep of a team that, granted, was injured themselves. The Warriors were missing Stephen Curry. The Warriors were missing DeAnthony Melton. The Warriors were missing Jonathan Kuminga. I'm sorry. I don't know where my brain's at. The Warriors were missing Andrew Wiggins. So the Pelicans were missing folks too, but so were the Warriors. And even though the Pelicans did not have the offensive players like CJ McCollum, who cares? A win's a win. This one counts, folks. They both do. And this Golden State Warriors team, their depth is blowing the opposition out of the water tonight, being another example of that. 104-89, the final score, a 15-point win for a Warriors team that dominated the inside. I mean, this was a master clinic for what Trayce Jackson-Davis could do, for what Draymond Green typically does. I want to start the show by giving love to Draymond Green, Mr. Backpack himself, not for the threes. And what I mean by that is Draymond Green was 3 of 5 from deep tonight. He doesn't make 3 3-pointers in a game that often. The Warriors are nearly undefeated when he does that. I forgot what the record was. I apologize for not having that information, but it's they only have a few losses under their belt when Draymond actually is hitting these outside shots with consistency like tonight. So Draymond, 3 of 5 from deep, 5 of 11 from the field, a 14-point, 4 rebound, 6 assist effort. He also had 1 steal. He also had 5 blocks. And those blocks were very symbolic of Draymond's impressive defensive night on top of putting the ball in the hoop, which is something he's normally not accustomed to doing. But again, 3 of 5 from deep. And those 3-pointers were huge because there were moments in this game where the Warriors were struggling to find points. Shots weren't falling, especially early on. But Draymond Green hit some big ones tonight. But more importantly, I really feel that the defense he played on Zion Williamson was a master clinic. Draymond played OKD on Zion last night. But there were a few moments where Zion did what he normally does in games, right? Like, especially with his footwork, with the spins, using that strong body of his. But Draymond learned from that. And that's what smart people do. They don't repeat mistakes. That is the true sign of someone's acumen. Do you learn from your faults and avoid repeating them? Draymond Green is an example. suspensions excluded, even though in the post-game interview tonight that he did with the TV broadcast crew, even he admitted that last year was a bad year, no matter how you spin it. And he's learning from these things. People can mature at different ages. And I'm not sitting here saying that Draymond Green is suddenly a monk, where he's timid and quiet and docile. No, but at least for tonight, he kept his emotions in check. He even challenged a play. And that's where I really want to give Steve Kerr credit as well, because a year ago, I remember criticizing Kerr, justifiably so, for not knowing when to challenge plays. And my understanding is they did. I don't know if they hired someone or if they added an assignment to one of the assistant coaches in terms of being like the replay guru, in terms of helping Steve Kerr out and making those difficult decisions. But Draymond Green, for the second time this season that I can remember, immediately went to Steve Kerr, was like, I did not commit that foul. And the foul in question was on Zion Williamson. They reversed it into a charge after the challenge was successful. It wasn't a charge. They called a foul on Draymond Green, but it was all ball. There was no contact except for maybe some minor incidental stuff. But bravo, because in the second quarter, he listened to Draymond Green. The challenge was successful. Little things like that can play a big part in momentum. And so props to Steve Kerr for improving his challenge game. Props to Draymond Green for just a fantastic night on both sides of the ball. It was a difference maker. And on a night where the team needed both offense and they needed big plays, Draymond Green was delivering. One more time, his stat line, because it was impressive. He played 30 minutes in this game, 30 minutes and 7 seconds, more specifically, 5 of 11 from the field, 3 of 5 from the three-point shooting. Draymond Green, yes, backpack style and all. Who cares if he makes it? That's all that matters. Again, added 6 assists, 4 rebounds, had a steal, 5 blocks in this game. Bob Fitzgerald was mentioning on the broadcast tonight, or maybe it was Glenn Azubuike. I forgot who was the first person to say it, but they mentioned that Draymond Green is aspiring to win his second Defensive Player of the Year award this year. Side note, it is asinine that Draymond Green only has 1 Defensive Player of the Year award, while Rudy Gobert, who is one of the most overrated players in the history of this game, has 4 of them. Absurd. But regardless, Draymond Green, that's one of his goals this year, is to win a second Defensive Player of the Year award. And if he continues playing like he did tonight, especially against competition like Zion Williamson, where he held Zion to 12 points on 5 of 20 shooting, that's only 25% of his shots. Zion Williamson is a fantastic basketball player, especially when it comes to the inside. Yet Draymond Green held him to 5 of 20 shooting. One of those 20 field goal attempts was a three-pointer that he missed. And Zion only grabbed, he grabbed 12 rebounds in this game. But the important thing, again, holding Zion Williamson on a night when the Pelicans were shorthanded. They needed offense from Zion and Brandon Ingram. And we'll talk about the defense on Ingram in a second, because the Warriors also displayed a masterclass guarding him. But Draymond Green, kudos to you. 2 games after being benched for one of the very rare times I can remember in his career, he's bounced back nicely. He's not holding on. He's not resenting those kinds of decisions. He's moving on. He's keeping a positive outlook. And Draymond Green tonight, 14 points in the effort, 3 of 5 from deep, and maybe more importantly, unbelievable defense on Zion Williamson, who was held to 12 points. The player, though, that I think might have actually played or might have been as important as Draymond, if not slightly more so, just because his buckets had such impact and his defense was fantastic, I want to give a tip of the cap tonight to Trayce Jackson-Davis. He played excellent basketball. He got the minutes that I feel he deserves. He played 20 minutes in this game. I wouldn't mind Trayce Jackson-Davis getting 25, 30 minutes in all honesty, but 20 is better than the 15 we've been accustomed to seeing. Trayce Jackson-Davis had a fantastic game. Was 1 rebound shy of a triple-double, but he still had 15 points and 9 rebounds, and he was efficient. I mean, this is a player who last year led the Golden State Warriors in field goal percentage, but the field goal attempts were minimal, right? It wasn't like he was putting up a routine, 10 field goal attempts a night type performances, but this year he's putting the ball up more. And it's not just putbacks. It's not just dunks. He's actually, I'm seeing him using his pivot foot to deceive the defender. I'm seeing him doing fadeaway hooks. He's starting to expand his game. Damon Bruce is somewhere out there exalted from Trayce Jackson-Davis, his fellow Indiana alum, putting up a great night tonight. Again, 7 of 9 from the field, 1 rebound shy of a double-double. He had 9 rebounds in this game, 15 points, a plus 11 in net rating. Draymond Green, by the way, I forgot to mention, was a plus 13 in net rating. So Trayce Jackson-Davis and Draymond Green, they manned the inside of the paint tonight. That was their turf, their territory. They made that very clear to the Pelicans, and it was a dominating effort, resulting in the Warriors winning by 15 points. And you know they stepped up tonight because the Warriors, when you look at the points in the paint category, dominated. The Warriors outscored the Pelicans in terms of points in the paint, 56-34. They outscored them by 22 when it comes to the points in the paint. And it wasn't just Draymond. It wasn't just Trayce Jackson-Davis that helped that statistic. It was also the fourth-year player, Jonathan Kuminga, who finally, thankfully, after an abysmal 3-game start to the season, I don't know if it's just New Orleans. I don't know if it's him coming off the bench. He came off the bench again tonight as the 6th man. Who knows how that's going to play out when the players start coming back, like Wiggins, Steph, D'Anthony Melton. But at the moment, the move does seem to be working. And here's another thing. And I posted this stat on social media today. You can follow me on Threads at Dog Wild. You can follow me on Twitter at Surf Journalist. I posted this information at both places. But I started thinking about some, like, for example, Jonathan Kuminga has said that he aspires to be like a player like Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant is who he looked up to. Kobe Bryant is who Jonathan Kuminga oftentimes emulates in terms of playing style. And it got me thinking. I'm like, because people beat up Kuminga a lot for his shooting, and to a certain extent, maybe justifiably so, especially in the 3rd game of the season against the Clippers. I think he was 1 for 6 from deep, and that doesn't fly. I mean, you can't be shooting that poorly and expect to be playing. But I decided to just look up randomly, what is the 3-point percentage for players in their careers like Michael Jordan, like Kobe Bryant, or a player who's in the current era, LeBron James? Players who were guards or wings. Again, one of these players, Jonathan Kuminga, aspires to emulate and he looked up to. And I was curious to know, how did these guys shoot as 3-point shooters? Because Jonathan Kuminga is a career 33.7% shooter. Michael Jordan was a career 32.7% 3-point shooter. Kobe Bryant was a career 32.9% 3-point shooter. LeBron James is currently a career 34.8% 3-point shooter. The point is, outside shooting did not define who these all-time great players are. It was the whole package. Kuminga tonight played fantastic defense. He's showing more and more that his ball handling has certainly taken a leap. Like you could trust him bringing the ball up and running the offense, not as a permanent point guard, but on a short-term basis for limited possessions. He can do that, and he can do that fine. But his footwork attacking the paint, his cognizance for his 4 teammates on the court and looking for them, and not just being an ISO type player, which is utter BS in terms of the propaganda that's oftentimes espoused about him. Total malarkey. And Kuminga played well tonight. And he was oftentimes attacking. He was oftentimes looking for his teammates. Tonight was the first time, and I posted the highlight package on both my accounts, Threads and Twitter. So if you want to check it out, you can. But it was the first time I ever saw Steve Kerr smile from a Jonathan Kuminga performance. I've never seen Steve Kerr show excitement, happiness following like a play, right? Normally when Kuminga does his massive dunks or one of the plays that lights up an arena, Kerr's just kind of business as usual. He doesn't look impressed. He doesn't look like like the proud papa. Tonight he did. And it came off of this fantastic move where Kuminga just faked out his defender. I forgot who it was, and got a +1. He made the layup, also got a trip to the line. And the point is, he had a fantastic game. And Dub Nation, regardless of your feelings for this kid, if this is the Kuminga we start seeing on a night-by-night basis, on a consistent basis, there are great things to come. And Kuminga tonight played 27 minutes, 15 seconds. One last thing on the Kuminga thing before I read his stats. I cannot remember a single game, not one. I'm sure it exists, but I can't remember a single game where Kuminga played 30 minutes, or at least close to it, and the Warriors did not have a good night. That is why I have constantly said great things happen when Kuminga plays. Not when he's playing 17 minutes and getting a short leash. A legit run where the coach is like, I trust you. Go out there, give me your best 30 minutes, and we'll live with what we get. And when that happens, when Kuminga's leash is extended, great things happen. It is a consistently accurate thing. And tonight, again, 27 minutes, 15 seconds. He shot 50% from the field, was 6 of 12, only had 1 3-point attempt. He missed it. It didn't matter. Maybe this is what Kuminga needs to become. And maybe this is what Kerr and the coaching staff need to accept, that Kuminga is just not going to be this lights out 3-point shooter. Again, he shoots in the 34% range, 33, 34. That's his career track. Last year, he was at 34. You can live with that. All right. 33% or higher is the Mendoza line for 3-point shooting. I know it's slightly below the league average, but if you're focused on the league average, you're focusing on the wrong thing. Who cares what the league average is? It's all about what's happening on a night-by-night basis. It's all about the results. And the Warriors win when this kid plays, and tonight was no exception. 16 points in this game, a +8 in terms of net rating, easily the best among all the players who came off the bench tonight. Also added 2 assists and 4 rebounds. Great night. And he had 3 trips to the free throw line, was 4 of 5 from the line, missed his last free throw. He made his first 4, so 80% from the free throw line. It's good all around. And so kudos to Kuminga, kudos to Draymond Green, kudos to Trayce Jackson-Davis. There's a lot of other players who deserve their due. We're going to give them their due on this program, but those 3 are certainly highlighting everything. Let me see what's going on in the chat real fast. Han Solo Dolo, for example, talking about Brandon Ingram, who did not have a great game tonight. The Warriors clamped down on him big time. And a lot of that was also Kuminga, who's primarily got on the defensive assignment on Brandon Ingram. But yeah, Jaleel Lindsay, you're totally right. Defense, again, they held the New Orleans Pelicans to 89 points in this game. That's a good thing. That is a solid performance. Defense, the old adage, which I know Rick Barry even himself says is not the whole thing, but the old adage, defense wins championships. There is some truth to that. And for tonight, the defense was fantastic. Traveling Urquidez brings up an interesting point, and this is something I will talk about another night. It's too feel good of an evening to start talking about Warriors players, being traded and stuff like that. But Traveling Urquidez, a Golden Dazer, and again, that's one of the perks for paying $2.99 a month, says, raise your hand if you forgot Wiggins was still on this team. Yeah, for tonight, that's a fair assessment. And all I'll say to that before moving on is, if the Warriors trade Andrew Wiggins, they're going to be okay. All right. And if he can become an asset to bring someone back that's quality, that's all the better. But Wiggins, Gary Payton II, Kevon Looney, the old guard, we love them, but they are expendable. This team could easily survive moving on from those 3 and embracing the next generation of players. I want to see what's going on in the chat right now. Derek Simmons, our bodybuilding friend from Vegas. Good to hear from you, saying Larry Krueger is crying right now. That's not true. Larry Krueger wants the Warriors to win. But yeah, his prediction of the Warriors winning about 40 games this year. I think he said 38 more specifically. Not looking good right now. Traveling Urquidez also adding, bring back the pump fake. Jonathan Kuminga, that is working for him big time, no doubt there. Damian LaRoche, another one of our Golden Dazers, had a comment in here that I did want to highlight. Traveling Urquidez, yes, this coaching staff is night and day better. As I've mentioned repeatedly, that was the best part of the offseason, in my humble opinion, is the fact that Terry Stotts and Jerry Stackhouse were added to this staff. Damian LaRoche adding that Podziemski, and I'm going to talk about him in just a minute, almost had a triple-double. He had a nasty fall late in the game. I don't know if you folks saw that. like his whole body turned purple for a minute. He fell on his arm, and I saw him. I was doing my best lip reading, and it looked like Podziemski had some arm soreness from falling hard on his right side after getting fouled. But Podziemski had a great game. I'm gonna read off his stats in just a moment. I thought there was one other comment that that stuck out to me, and I should have highlighted it. I apologize for that. Damian saying that closing five lineup is sexy. Yeah, why not? Sure, I'll roll with that. Absolutely. Well, I can't find it. It doesn't matter. What are you gonna do? Yeah, Steve White saying, "I told you this team could be special." I don't remember that, but I trust you, and congrats. You nailed it. So far, so good. This team so far is incredibly special. No cap 757. I'm not going to highlight your chat comment because I don't understand it, and it's kind of weird. All right, let's resume talking about who shined on this team, and if some sound comes down during the broadcast, well, I'll obviously play it. I know Steve Kerr was talking to the media. Oh, look, here's some sound right now. But wait, is that from tonight's game? Yeah, Buddy Hield wearing the beanie again. That dude rolls with the beanie game with post-game interviews. Let's go to the post-game presser, more specifically the Warriors interview room.
Good. Keep that telling me.
5-7 the game, who I wish their setup was connected to the microphones in there, but I digress. Here is Buddy Hield talking about Draymond Green shooting three-pointers. Buddy had a decent game. We'll talk about him as well in just a moment. But here's Buddy talking about Draymond going 3 of 5 from deep.
Good. Keep that telling me. Telling me he belongs to this world. You know, the Warriors, they want to shoot threes. You know, and are you telling me he has a good one? And you know, he keeps shooting. What have you learned?
All right, so that was short and sweet. Buddy Hield talking about Draymond Green hitting threes. Real fast, Buddy Hield stat night on the day. He's putting up points. The accuracy wasn't up to his own standards. Look, Buddy Hield went 4 of 12 from deep. By his standards, again, not great, but it's passable. When you shoot 33.3% or higher, or not, forget the 0.3. When you shoot 33% or higher, you're not hurting your team. It's the equivalent of 50% from 2. You live with that. So Buddy Hield went 4 of 12 from deep. Buddy Hield was 8 of 19 from the field overall. And Buddy Hield, despite a night that I didn't stick out for any particular reason, this is what three-point shooters do. He still led the team in scoring tonight with 21 points off the bench. The starting five was interesting for the Warriors tonight. It was Podziemski, Lindy Waters, who had a very quiet night, still efficient. I think his size brings a lot to the table. He plays good defense. His teammates love him. So the starting lineup was Podziemski, Lindy Waters, Trayce Jackson-Davis, Draymond Green, and Moses Moody. So Buddy Hield did not start. I personally think Buddy Hield is better coming off the bench. It's such a boost to that bench. Maybe part of the reasoning for it is to give some space around Kuminga, because that's another thing that I think we're starting to see here with Kuminga coming off the bench is when he is in a lineup with shooters and that extra space is given to Kuminga, he's attacking the rim with impunity. Like it becomes a lot harder for a defense to stop one of the game's premier one-on-one players. And so maybe that's the reasoning behind Buddy Hield coming off the bench. But he played 29 minutes tonight, led the team in scoring with 21 points. But Brandon Podziemski, I want to give him his due. I mentioned a moment ago about the fact that he had that hard fall late in the game. Dude is tough. I remember one charge that he picked up for the player that led the NBA in charges last year. Still a ridiculous stat. That is true, and it's just wild. That is Brandon Podziemski for you. He came 2 rebounds and 3 assists. That didn't look right. I thought he had bigger numbers in the game, but according to my NBA box score that I have in front of me, he finished with 13 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Maybe they updated something in there. I thought he had a higher numbers than that. But that is what is showing in front of me. Well, regardless, that's still a hell of a stat line. I mean, his 3-point shot is the one part of his game that I think we all hope improves. And over time, maybe it will. His second year in college, he shot 43.8%. from beyond the 3-point line. He was 2 of 7 tonight, which is okay. It's not great. It's good. It's okay. But he was Mr. Everything tonight. Again, he had the 13 points, 8 rebounds for one of the team's best rebounders, 7 assists, which is what you want to see from your point guard. Did have 4 turnovers in this game. A couple of those were pretty bad. But he had a great night. He was a plus 13 in terms of net rating. Had 4, I mentioned the 4 turnovers, had a steal as well. Yeah, he was fine, man. He had a good game. I saw someone on social media tonight, I forgot who it was, nobody prominent, that I don't think, say that he doesn't belong in the NBA. It was a bold take. I don't agree with that at all. I don't know if he'll ever make an all-star team, but he belongs in the NBA, and I think he's going to have a bright future in this game. So Brandon Podziemski also had a great night. This is the Warriors are 4-1 to start the year. All right, that is not something I'm making up right now. On tomorrow's show, tomorrow's Thursday, I don't know what the plan is yet for the schedule moving forward, but I'm going to dedicate a show either tomorrow or Friday to the Warriors defensive matchup leaders, because that will take up a whole show by itself. The research that goes into coming to gathering and compiling those stats is time consuming, but that'll be coming up soon. And we'll see how players like Brandon Podziemski have been doing through 5 games on defense. But again, they're 4-1. And when you look at the standings, folks, the Warriors, I believe, are a half game behind. Yeah, I have it in front of me now. The Warriors are a half game behind the OKC Thunder for the best record in the Western Conference. It's very early, but you have to win these games, and they're winning them. You have to take care of business against the non-elite teams, and they're doing that. Saturday night's going to be a test. The Houston Rockets, who are 2-2 to start the year, that's a team with talent. I originally thought the Clippers might have been the toughest test so far. Maybe it's going to be the Rockets. We'll find out. But for now, I mean, the Warriors have 2 nights off before they start an extensive road trip. That's going to include a wild 3-game swing. That's going to include the Celtics. That's going to include the OKC Thunder. So the Warriors for now are doing what they got to do, and that is awesome. Damien LaRoche writing, I love how the media always writes off the Warriors. It's ridiculous. You're absolutely right. A lot of people did. I'm going to put the link to the chat. If anyone wants to join me tonight, the invite's open. I want to share the joy in case anyone else wants to come in and maybe bring up something that should be brought up. But yeah, KM, we're smacking these teams. The margin is not even close. The Golden State Warriors, I'm glad you brought that up, because the Warriors, when it comes to differential, meaning how many points have the Warriors scored and how many points have the Warriors given up? And the Warriors are even ahead of the OKC Thunder in that category. They right now are a plus 20.4 in differential. The OKC Thunder are plus 17.5. Over in the Eastern Conference, you have the Cleveland Cavaliers at plus 18.2. The reigning champion Boston Celtics at plus 11.4. But the Warriors, I'm so glad you brought that up so that I could quickly mention that, plus 20.4 differential. They are blowing teams out of the water. Damien LaRoche adding it's 2015 Warriors differential. Derek Simmons Jr., how are you doing, brother? Good to see you, man.
I'm not Derek. I'm Larry Krueger, and I think that the Warriors going to finish, if they're lucky, 41 games they'll win this year. 41 games. They just don't got the talent, you know. Draymond's old. Curry's old. You know, even though Curry, you know, outplayed everybody in USA basketball, Curry's old. You know, I just don't think they got it this year.
He's wrong. He's wrong. There's no admit it. He is wrong.
What I told you the other day, Si, I said play the younger talent and see what happens. And now we are seeing what happens. Trayce Jackson-Davis, 15 points, 9 rebounds. We got Brandon Podziemski finally at the point guard. That's what his position is. That's where he needs to stay at. We got Kuminga. We got Moody with real minutes. You see how they producing out there? Kuminga looked like a star out there. Defense. The defense from Buddy Hield. You saw how Buddy Hield just stripped that ball away from Zion? We had Zion wanting to play video games, watch anime, and hang out with Instagram models. He didn't want to be on the court today. He was so tired. We were running that floor. I mean, the first 2 quarters was a playoff atmosphere game. Pelicans wanted that. But we kept on fighting back, and the Pelicans just got tired.
No, you're absolutely right, man. It's what was it? I want to get Deshaun or Drayhan. I'm sorry. Let's make this a party. Why not? Drayhan, welcome to the program. What was your reaction to tonight's game?
Man, I loved it. I'm from Michigan, so Draymond, hey man, you know we love you. Well, I'm from Saginaw, Michigan to be exact. So, man, we love it. We love it. I love it. Love today's game.
Like, is Saginaw a small town, or is it like how many people live there?
Very small, bro.
Do you know, like, is it small enough where is Draymond's mom like a celebrity in that town? Like, do you have stories of Draymond's upbringing or anything like that?
Oh, she's a great person, man. I went to Saginaw High, and where he's known for, and great family for sure. And will give you their last. Like, despite what people think about Draymond, I mean, he'll give you your last. He would literally give you his last slice of bread if he had it. That's how caring that family is. Very popular family, for sure.
Is it too soon to talk about what I forgot who was in the chat. I think it was Richard Marquez who said, I forgot Wiggins was on this team. What's you two's thought? Derek, you first.
Yeah, I think Wiggins was holding this from happening. I think Wiggins, Curry, and I forgot his name because it's
Melton.
Yeah, Melton. That was the best thing that happened to us because we finally got real minutes out of the younger, bigger players, and I knew that we was much better than what Steve Kerr was showing us, and Steve Kerr was forced to play the players the way he's playing. And now we're seeing what the real Warriors can do. So,
Drayhan, your thoughts?
Overall, from top to bottom, the defense. It was the defense that cattled the offense. You know, for an offensive team, you would think the offense would pick up, and then the defense would get it boosted and get it going. But no, not today. The defense held the offense down. Because we did not play good that first half offensively, but we played hard defensively.
Oh, they did. The effort was absolutely there. One of you, I forgot who was, Derek, maybe it was you who brought up Moses Moody. I want to mention his stat line real fast because he got a run, man. He played, for some reason in last night's game, he played 17 minutes and change. I don't know why he had such a short run. Tonight he plays 30 minutes. The scoring wasn't there. He only scored 8 points. He was 2 of 6 from deep, which again, you live with. That's 33%. But he led the team in net rating with a plus 18. I thought his defense particularly stuck out. He was assigned to Brandon Ingram for a lot of this game. He played great ball, man. And here's the problem. And Carlo brings this up as well. Like, Wiggins was balling before the back strain. I feel like every day it's a different story with this team. Every day. Like one day you'll sit here and say Kuminga is just playing bad. You get dismayed about his future. And then we see these last 2 games, and he shows that he's indispensable and you need him. Andrew Wiggins had a great start to the year, and all of a sudden you're thinking, wow, how are we going to live without him? And then Lindy Waters shows up and goes, oh, we have another guy his height who can also hit 3-pointers. Maybe he's expendable. It's very unpredictable. This team I'm nowhere near having having my finger on it in terms of figuring out like a proper judgment, a proper assessment. Derek, I'll start with you, man. Like, are you confident in any opinions that you have about this team, including Wiggins, or would you rather wait and see?
Where are those Kuminga haters at tonight? I want to see y'all. Where are y'all trolls? Where's the trolls at of Kuminga? Because y'all been talking about Kuminga ever since the start of the season. Now what? Now what? This is the rise of the Kuminga. The Kuminga rises, baby. So that's my opinion. The Kuminga rises, and we go into the top. Ring number 5, Steph Curry, go to sleep. Night.
Oh, beautiful. Dre, your thoughts?
Cyrus, man, you have to do one day, because I know because I did research on him. You got to do one day talking about Kuminga's background, man. And if you I would say this: if you ain't inspired by his background story, I don't know what would get you inspired as a person. His background story is incredible.
Dre, about 3.5 months ago, when I made the switch from the old network to this show, one of the first shows I did was the Jonathan Kuminga episode. So if you just do a little digging, it was like 45 minutes of Jonathan Kuminga's entire life. It was a biography, and I wholeheartedly agree with you, man. This kid's story is inspirational. He's humble. There's very little ego there, man. Like, this is just a kid who wants to take care of his family, and he loves basketball. And I did do that, Trey. So that's my point.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No. I'm not trying to. I'm not sitting here telling you shame on you for not knowing that. No, you're fine. This was months ago. I'm just saying, this is a good opportunity for anyone who's interested. Just do a little digging on the Golden Days YouTube channel, and you'll see it. It's about 3 months ago. We got another person, by the way. Is it Javi or Hobby? How do you pronounce her name, man? And welcome to the show in the darkness.
Hey, thank you, man. It's Javi.
Javi, great to see you, man. Sort of. I can't see you very well, but why are you so dark? Why are you outside, like hiding from your girlfriend, or what's going on with you?
No, I'm in my car right now outside. I just got home, so I just finished watching the game at the bar, and I'm excited. I'm excited about what happened, and I always watch your live after the game. So thank you for having me on. I appreciate it, and what's up to everybody else on here and everybody in the chat.
Thank you, man. I promise you this, dude. We're gonna throw a huge party at some point if this continues. I know. At least Derek, you're not in the Bay Area. Are you two in the Bay, Dre and Javi?
No, I'm in Bakersfield, California.
Close enough. You could drive here. Dre, what about you?
I'm from Michigan, from Saginaw.
That's right, Saginaw. Oh man. Well,
I will most definitely come and fly for a party for sure.
Yeah, we'll figure it out because we got to do something, man. And if Larry Krueger and these other guys can hold events, we got to have an event for us too, man, and get the crew together. Richard Marquez. First of all, Han Solo Dolo. And look, I respect that, dude. There are a lot of people in this world who are just for some reason cannot admit when they say or do something and they're wrong about it. There's just a lot of pride and ego out there, man. Han Solo Dolo, I credit you for coming out and admitting that you were hating on Kuminga. And you're giving her props now, dude. I love it, bro. I love it. Bravo. I just want to say thank you for that.
They quiet today, Cyrus. They quiet today.
Javi, what's on your mind, man? What were your thoughts of this game tonight?
I'm glad. In the beginning, I seen that it was a really close game. I think the Warriors were losing, but not too much, but kind of under a little bit, right? And then they caught up, and all of a sudden they kind of left them behind, and that's when I seen it. Like, okay, they won. But something that I wanted to ask you. So this is only my second year really getting into the NBA, right? And following the Warriors. Like this year, I'm following it way more hardcore than last season. But I wanted to ask you, like, for somebody like me who doesn't really understand the caliber of most of these teams, how like most a lot of criticism of the Warriors right now is like, oh, they're playing teams that aren't as good or that aren't that good, aren't predicting to be that good. With the lineup that's coming up with the Pelicans now that they played, and then I can't remember the name of the following team. But
Rockets next. They play Houston next.
Oh, Rockets, right. So out of them, what is the quality of them between them and the first couple of players? Is the Pelicans a pretty good team to compare them to, or to gauge?
That's a great little bit. Hobby. And Steve White, I see you. Just stay tight. I'm going to bring you on. Derek, I'll let you answer that first, man. What are your thoughts on the Pelicans as a test of the Warriors in terms of whether or not these? I guess what Hobby's asking, and I get it, is Should we really be happy that the Warriors swept this back-to-back with the Pelicans, or was an injury-depleted Pelicans team not a team that we should be that excited over? What are you thinking about that, Derek?
Because if you don't mind me adding, real quick, because I've seen certain things too that a little sloppy, a little bit, you know, and I'm like, would that fly with like the Celtics or the Mavericks and good teams like that, you know?
No. You need a full team for the Celtics, dude. I don't know if this team's ready for that. And I'm curious to see it. It's coming up. The Warriors are in Boston next week. They're in Boston next week. We're going to find out. Derek, what do you think? Derek and Dre, I'm going to ask you two this. Derek, you first. What's your take on the Pelicans, man? Should we be excited that the Warriors beat this team, or were they a bunch of chumps?
So you got to remember, Pelicans is a playoff team. Last year, we struggled against teams that were in the playoffs. And this is a great test because also Pelicans got Zion, and we struggled against big men. So tonight was a testament of our depth, and it was a test of how fast we are. So currently, we are leading the league in fast break points and overall points in transition. So we are technically the fastest team in the NBA. We are also currently second in defense. So
I'm gonna again on tomorrow's show, when I bring up the defensive matchups, I'm also gonna bring up the fact of the Warriors. I just mentioned they lead the NBA right now through 5 games. It's early, but they lead the NBA in point differential. It's plus 20.4. If the season ended today, that would be a record. That would be the biggest differential ever. It's not going to stay that way, obviously, but the Warriors right now are among the leaders in terms of points, defended. Dude, they're kicking ass is the best way to spin it. And I agree with you, Derek. Even though the Pelicans were shorthanded, especially tonight, they still had Zion, man. They still had Brandon Ingram on that team. Did you see, by the way, how pissed off Javonte Green was? Like Javonte Green, I believe he got teed up at one point because the Warriors were frustrating him that much, dude. Mm-hmm. There is something to take away from this that is genuine. Dre, what are your thoughts real fast?
We have to give credit to Mike Dunleavy for one. By looking at from last year to this year, you have to go and look at your stats. Look at what you're good at and look at what you're not good at. For one, we are. I don't like to ponder on height because I believe rebounding is attitude. You gotta want to rebound the ball. I don't care how tall you is. You gotta want to rebound the ball. But we were number 1 in rebounding last year.
Which goes to show that the rebounding stat doesn't tell the whole picture, right? Like points in the paint I think is even more important. And last year the Warriors were getting their ass kicked in that category. This year so far they're holding up, which is a good thing. I'm totally with you on that. I want to bring some more folks in. Derek, do you mind if I boot you out? No offense. I'm just going in order of chronology. Any final thoughts, Derek, before I bring Steve White and anyone else who wants to jump in tonight and just be stoked about the Warriors, dude? Any final thoughts, Derek?
No, let's just keep it up and Rockets, you're next.
I hope to see you Saturday night, Derek. Thank you as always, man. Thank you. And Steve White, who's coming on, wants to thank you for having your shirt on tonight. That is not my opinion. I could care less. But I saw Steve right there in the chat. But Hobby, just to answer your question, I agree with what Dre and Derek were both saying, man. I think the Pelicans are shorthanded, but that's still a good team. That's a very well coached team. A lot of former Warriors assistants on that Pelican staff. I don't know if you noticed that. Like Willie Green is a former Kerr assistant. Jaron Collins, a former assistant. And there's like 1 or 2 other guys as well. They've got acumen on that team in terms of coaching. They've got talent. I know they're short-staffed, but the Warriors kicked their ass, dude. These were not close games. So I'm gonna take a lot of positives from these, man.
All right, yeah, because yeah, that's just what I was wondering because I'm not too knowledgeable, but you're credible, so
thank you.
I thought I'd ask you, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what happens because throughout the offseason, people were saying, when I followed you too, like some trades weren't working out and stuff like that. So me hearing that, I'm thinking, all right, it's gonna be rough, but I'm glad to see what I'm seeing now, and I'm excited to see more.
Dude, the mood is good, man. The mood is very good, and we're going to play some more sound as well. Dre, any final thoughts? I'm going to kick you out just because I'm going in order here. And
no problem. This is the first time that I've seen Steve Kerr on the bench happy about
Same.
Kuminga.
That I don't know if you heard me. I
He was
said that
smiling
exact
from
same thing.
ear to ear, happy. Like, whoa, this is what we want from you.
Here, I'm gonna play. Even at the risk of potentially getting in trouble with YouTube, I don't care. I'm gonna play the highlights. So, and I apologize to the podcast audience for this because you obviously will not be able to watch this. I'll include the audio. But this is the highlight that led to Steve Kerr for the first. I've never seen this before. This was Steve Kerr actually happy from Jonathan Kuminga's success, because normally Kuminga will make these kinds of plays, and Steve Kerr is just kind of like, whatever, like he's not that stoked about it. But it was right around here. Take a watch.
He is destroying Brandon Ingram's pride. All right, so Coletta, take me through this move. Oh my goodness, it's just like a little in and out, and Brandon Ingram fell for it. Talk about biting. On the left. No, he's not. Kuminga wasn't satisfied. He wanted to play. Even Coach Kerr's like, oh my goodness. What did you just do?
We never see that. We never see that. That is rare. And I think that does mean something, man, because Steve Kerr, he doesn't do things accidentally. He's very savvy in terms of everything he does in front of a camera. So, yeah, I think that was a good thing. I would agree with that, Dre, wholeheartedly. Any final thoughts, Dre?
Nothing much, man. Go Warriors. Let's keep it up. Let's keep this winning going and keep this team chemistry going.
Yes, sir. They got that, man. Dre, come back on the show, all right? You were a great contribution. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Have a great night in Saginaw, Michigan. Oops, Javi, you're back. And let's get Steve White. I see you in the chat all the time. Now you're on the show. Nice to meet you, Steve. How the hell are you doing? And how do you feel about this win tonight?
Hey, man, I'm glad to be here. Shout out to Saginaw, to my man putting his shirt on tonight. I'm really, really excited about my team. It was a really, really good win tonight. And to answer my man's questions, the Pelicans are a really good team. They just had the misfortune of running into the Lakers. When you get guys like Austin Reeves shooting 20 free throws a game, it's hard to beat them. So they are a really good team, and I expect them to be in the playoff hunt. So that's they really, really showed up and showed out tonight. 2 nights in a row, as a matter of fact. I did not expect them to win this game tonight.
I thought tonight would be a lot tighter for that exact reason, just because, just like the playoffs, right? If there's a blowout in game 1, game 2 is normally tight for that exact reason. Your opposition, you felt each other out, and that didn't matter. That did not matter. The Warriors were like, F you, man, we'll beat you up again. That was insane, Steve.
Yeah, they were putting the locks down on Zion, which I thought was incredible. Steve Kerr finally got out of Trayce Jackson-Davis's way. He played incredible tonight. I could not believe that. I was like, whoa, he's still in the game. I had to make sure I was not watching a replay of last night. So that was pretty awesome to see as well. I've been clamoring for Lindsey Water III to get in there, because he kind of reminds me, I know I'm going to get some flack for this, but he reminds me of a young Klay Thompson, moving without the ball. He does not play as much, not as good defense as Klay, but I mean, that shot, as soon as he gets open, you could pretty much count that as going in. I'm like, man,
it's
this
clean.
dude
It's a bold Steve, it's a bold take comparing him to Klay. I'm not hating on it. It's so early. I just have no opinion on that. But I will say this, man, Lindy's defense has been better than expected. That 3-point shot is smooth. And let me ask both of you this while I have you. There was a moment in the second quarter, I believe, where the Pelicans went on a 16-2 run, right? And they cut the lead. They briefly took they cut the Warriors lead and took a lead of their own for a brief moment there. And a huge reason for that was Gary Payton II. He was struggling. The Pelicans are not a team for him, because there's no one guy where you can throw GP2 out there and say, lock him down. Maybe if what's his name? The point guard. I don't know why he was
Calderon.
Who?
Calderon.
No. The guy who's injured right now that they traded for from Atlanta. Anyways, it'll come to me in a second. But you use GP2 to defend him. But this was not his game. And Gary Payton II tonight played a total of 7 minutes, 19 seconds, posted nothing on the stat sheet except for 2 assists and 2 fouls, was a -5 in net rating, the only player on the team with a negative net rating. So my point is, GP2 played 7 minutes, 19 seconds. Kevon Looney only played 8 minutes, 33 seconds. And even though I personally love these guys for everything they've done with this current squad, I really do believe they should be at the bottom of the rotation, man, or they should not be in the rotation at all. I think Lindy Waters needs to be ahead of all these guys. Trayce Jackson-Davis needs to be getting all those minutes. And tonight we saw it, and they were rewarded for that. So I loved seeing Trayce Jackson-Davis get the minutes. And no offense to GP2 lovers out there or Looney lovers out there, but this is a team that just doesn't need those two, man. There's too much talent on this team. So I don't know what your thoughts are on what I just said, but what are your thoughts, Steve? And Javi, Steve, you're first.
Well, I'm going to totally agree with you. I love me some GP2. On certain matchups, I'd like to see him going up against maybe a Jaw or one of the quicker guards that they have. But tonight, he just didn't have it. Last night, he played really, really good. His couple of steals when he got in really turned it around.
And it was DeJounte Murray who owes. Thank you to Timothy Santiago for solving my brain fart there. Thank you. Matt Brotherton, and I agree with you. He writes, we need Gary Payton II for the vibes, no doubt. And the good news is he's under contract. It's not like you have to play him. All I'm saying is like in these moments where you're in a jam when it comes to minutes, right? You're thinking, how do we get Moody 25, 30 minutes? How do we get Kuminga 25, 30 minutes? How do we get Lindy Waters minutes? GP2, Kevon Looney. That's your answer. No disrespect, but it's about winning, dude. I mean, this is pro basketball, So, Javi, what do you think about that? I know you're a relative newcomer to this whole scene, but you've got opinions. You've got observation skills. What are your thoughts on the rotations?
So for me, I agree with you. I do believe Waters, since the preseason, he stuck out to me a lot. Just, his ability to shoot, and then also his ability to defend also, being able to move, not just let the player pass by him. He's actually trying to follow along with him if he can. Trayce Jackson, that guy since last season, he was doing amazing. Like just being able to defend under the rim, or even give good passes or for the alley oops and stuff. Like I believe he deserves to be in there. At least like you said, above. Looney makes good plays from what I've seen, but I wouldn't say it just depends on the matchup. I would say.
Here's the thing with Looney, and I'll say that, and I've said this repeatedly. I'm sorry for being a broken record, but every time he's out there when there is an elite big out there, we're only 5 games in the season, but think of Zubac as a prime example. Think of Zion, for example, or because there were moments where Looney was defending him. They score at will. Yesterday's game, for example, Zion had 5 field goals in a quarter. They were all scored on Looney, man, and he just can't defend bigs. And that's a problem, dude. So I don't mind him as a backup center, but Trayce Jackson-Davis is just superior. It's a clear level there between the two. But and again, I don't mean to hate Looney. I really don't. I don't like being negative, when it comes to opinions on him. But if the goal's winning, Trayce Jackson-Davis is the better player. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Pito Reformat's asking, it's a contract year. Will they ship him? Maybe. For the money he makes, he's making approximately $8 million, if I'm not mistaken. Remember, his contract wasn't even guaranteed. He only had $3 million guaranteed coming into this year, and then they decided it wasn't worth it to waive him and still have that $3 million count against the cap, and so they kept him for another year. But yeah, as a role player, he's awesome. And he's under contract. If you don't have to trade him, you don't trade him. But his defense against bigs is a liability. That's the only reason why I'm saying that. Steve White. I see you all the time in the chat, dude. You have the platform. What are your thoughts on this team, man? Are we getting too excited? We're 5 games into the season. Should I be calming the F down? Should other people be calming the F down? What are your thoughts, dude?
I'd like to say this at work all the time. Absolutely not. We are right to be hyped about this team. I was telling you, I was on the show with Sophia a couple of weeks ago, and I was telling you guys before the season even started that, don't sleep on the Warriors. Do I think they'll win the championship? I told you before I couldn't tell until I see a couple of games. I'm still not too sure. I'll have a better idea after this weekend and after next week when they see the Celtics, when they see OKC. Definitely, yeah, and definitely when they see Houston on Saturday. Someone in the chat was saying it's a trap game. That's a grudge match. Houston does not like us. We do not like them. I am pumped for that game, but I think we'll have a lot more clarity on what this team can do and what this ceiling is definitely after the Boston Celtic game, because they have a deep bench too.
Well, this is the stretch that's coming up for the Golden State Warriors, and it's crazy, man. It really is. The Warriors are about to go on a 5-game road trip. The first 2 games are pretty much must win. The Rockets are going to be tough, like you said. Deep team. Not as deep as the Warriors, but they're deep. They're big. But I don't think they have the chemistry the Warriors do. And the Warriors should win that game. They're good enough to win. Then they play the Washington Wizards. You got to win that game, dude. That's one of the worst teams in NBA history. You got to beat that squad, regardless of where it is. We'll say hi to Jordan Poole. It'll be a nice little sentimentality type event going on, and then you kick his ass and you move on. But then the 3 games after that, though, and here's the thing. Yeah. If the Warriors lose all 3 of these games, you do not get discouraged by that, because these are 3 of possibly the best teams in the NBA. And I'm including Cleveland. Cleveland is, at least as a regular season team, they are damn good. So you're playing at Boston, and that's going to be next Wednesday, at Cleveland, that's next Friday, and at OKC, and that's going to finish up the road trip. Folks, I'm going to harp on this a lot. Do not get discouraged if the Warriors lose those 3 games. The Warriors could lose those 3 and still, by the end of the season, come together and be a good enough team to beat those teams if they're not good enough now. What are you two's thoughts? Let's go, Javi, you first.
Yeah, for me, it's funny because one of my friends' team is the Celtics, and he's one of the reasons why I got into it also. And I plan on watching the game. Those 2 go together on the 4th. So I'm hoping they win, but we'll see. I do have a lot of confidence in what's going on right now with the Warriors. I do like the new pickups that we got. Like I said, Waters, Trayce Jackson we already had. Another person, I don't know what. Well, I mean that's it for the answer to answer your question.
Steve, what are your thoughts on the 5-game road trip, man? Do you think they're going to actually win any of those final 3, or are you okay if they lose those? What are your thoughts?
Cy, thinking about that when you were saying that to me, I just thought about the Clippers game. I thought they should have beat the Clippers. A couple of a couple maybe a lineup changes. Everybody's saying they should have put Lindy in the game. I think everybody was down after Steph got hurt, and that's what probably had them lose the game. I'm not sure if they can win those last 3 games. It wouldn't wreck the season, but it just depends on how they win or lose those games. Now, if they get blown out in Boston, they got blown out in Boston last year, so I know they want to give them some PB payback for that. I like that. And I hope that they don't get trapped in that Cleveland game looking ahead to OKC. So depending on how that game goes in Boston, I think they can win all 3 of them, with the depth that they have, depending on whether or not if Steph comes back. I think the lineup that they had with Wiggins and JK, that's formidable with the guys over in Boston, Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I think they can match up well with those guys. And if they played the same way that they played, the Pelicans last night, making sure that those other guys don't beat them, hell, I don't see why they couldn't win all 3 of those games, including in Oklahoma City. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they blew Oklahoma City out, because I think they owe them a payback for for that inaugural tournament that they lost last year on the road. Those 2 cheap games.
Just hit the brakes just a little bit, Steve. I would not expect a blowout of OKC. If they do, man, I'll be elated. But I just don't want to I don't want expectations to run that high in terms of a blowout. But you're right, man. The play. Great reference to the play-in last year. And I think the point you made a moment earlier was perfect, which is it's going to be about the effort, right? If they keep these games close, if they're engaged and make life difficult for these 3 teams, I think you could come away with moral victories from those 3, right? At least that's my thought on it. And someone in the chat said that last year, Kuminga locked up Jason Tatum. I forgot all about that. The Warriors beat the Celtics last year at home in that overtime game. I completely spaced on that. Great call, Pinoy reformat. That's a good reference there, man, because the Warriors did beat Boston at home a season ago. Kuminga had a great game. So we shall see. But the Warriors did lose the game in Boston.
Yeah, they blew us out the next the next game.
But
pretty good.
Steve, great call. And any final thoughts, Steve? You're welcome to come back, obviously. But for tonight, any final thoughts before we start wrapping up the show?
Yeah, I just think that we have a lot to be excited about. I think this deep bench is I think Kerr is doing the right thing. We're going with the 12 or 13 guys. I don't know how he's going to keep it up, but it's something that until they used to say, if it's not broke, then don't fix it. Again, I got to keep saying, just like you were harping on, our guy Loon needs to play less minutes unless they're playing against some bigs. And depending on the matchup, but GP2. But I think we have a lot to be excited about, and I can't wait till this Saturday, man. I'm looking real forward to that Rockets game.
Yeah, Looney's kryptonite is scoring bigs, and if you play an opponent that doesn't have that, like the Wizards, I don't think have anyone to worry about. You can give Looney minutes against Washington. I don't know if Houston has anyone down low that I know they got some talent, but off the top of my head, who's their bigs? So they got Sengun. I don't want Looney defending Alperen Sengun. I don't want that. Alperen Sengun will put up 40 points on Kevon Looney if that's a full game. But against Washington, yeah, throw them out. They're great, man. No worries. It's all about the scoring bigs to me, from what I've seen. Steve, your contributions are awesome. You clearly know the game. And Javi, for someone who's new, even though you're in the darkness right now, you're in the darkness, but you're espousing great opinions. Final thoughts from you, Javi, and great job coming in here on the debut performance tonight.
Thank you. So for me, I agree with both of you guys. I have a lot of confidence in what's in the team, and I'm excited to see what's going on. There's a lot more games to go, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen. What the consistency is going to be looking like. And so far, like last game with the Pelicans. That one at the first quarter, I seen the score and I was thinking, I don't even know if I want to watch this game. But I watched the game and we won by a good amount, a good lead. Oh, yeah. So I have confidence and I can't wait to see if we make it to the playoffs. But before I let you go, again, thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
And I wanna pose this question to you. For me, I believe his name is Kyle Anderson. Lately, what I've seen, he does make good plays, but sometimes he almost seems like he's lost on the court.
Well, that's why. Well, Javi, that's why his nickname is Slow Mo, because of that. He literally looks like he's going in slow motion and he's a little lost out there. That's how he is. It's unexplainable almost. But that's who he is. And Kyle Anderson, I thought, had a good game tonight, man. He scored in double figures at 10 points, did not miss a shot. He was 4-4, made his 1 3-point attempt included in that, had 4 boards, 2 assists. He had a solid outing tonight. But like you said, dude, it's weird. It is weird watching him play. No one else is like that. It looks like every step he takes is just like a turtle, dude. It's bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he made one shot that he was like, and I'm like, is he gonna pass it or is he gonna go through with it? And he went through with it and he made it. I'm like, all right, it works.
It does. And Damian LaRoche, you're absolutely right in the chat saying his basketball IQ is super high, man. There's a reason why they're paying him $10 million a year, because he knows what he's doing. But he's also a perfect bench player, right? Like, you're not gonna start Kyle Anderson on a winning team, but coming off the bench, bravo. Yeah, it's a great player. Javi, thank you. Steve White, thank you. Come back here, please. Let's hopefully have a lot more nights like this where we're in a damn good mood. And have a great night, you guys.
Thank you. Good night.
I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You better have a damn effing good night, all right?
All right, thank you.
I love you guys. Thank you. Have a great night, everybody. Javi, thank you. Steve White, thank you. Everyone else, Dre, Derek, thank all of you. Derek with an extra additional contribution at the end there, man. Thank you for that. All right. I want to mention real fast Lindy Waters. I didn't give him love for his stats, or I didn't mention his stats at all partly because he didn't really put up much. Lindy Waters hit a 3 early in this game, had 5 field goal attempts total, All 5 were three-point attempts. He only made one. He's allowed to have an off night, but he made up for it with fantastic defense. Finished the game with just 3 points on that one three-pointer that he made. Again, 1 for 5 from deep. He added 3 assists and a rebound, but I thought his defense was exemplary. He is tall by Golden State Warriors standards. He's a legit 6'6", and his height is welcomed on this team. And I'm trying to think if there's anyone else we didn't go. Oh, I want to give some love real fast to the garbage minute players. Reese Beekman, Guy Santos, and Pat Spencer. More specifically, Reese Beekman. Keep his name in your mind, folks. This kid could be something a year, 2 years, 3 years. He could be a part of this, man. I really do think he can replace GP2, and the transition will be seamless. Except Reese Beekman can actually handle the ball as a point guard. I still don't know if he's a good scorer or not, but I like him. I like what I see from Reese Beekman so far. I saw some people in the chat bring up Jordan Poole, as has become as a new tradition here on the program. At the end of every show, I will read off the scores, and that'll include the Wizards, who did beat the Atlanta Hawks, a team that I told you this summer during one of the over-under shows will not hit the over. They're an awful team. Steve White, thank you so much for coming on. It was great to see you. Yes, Richard Marquez. Reese does beat Ryan Rollins, and also Richard Marquez. I believe you asked about Kevin Knox and where he is. He qualified for Santa Cruz. He still had G League eligibility. So Kevin Knox, the Santa Cruz Warriors season has not started yet, but Kevin Knox is on the Santa Cruz roster. So if you want to see him, he'll be playing for Santa Cruz. And Abraham De Leon giving us an update saying that the Portland Trailblazers won tonight, 106-105 over the Clippers. We'll cover that in just a moment as we start wrapping it up. In fact, it's time to wrap it up. I didn't realize we've been on the air for an hour. So again, one more time, the Golden State Warriors winning this game tonight, 104-89, a 15-point margin. On tomorrow's show, I'm going to be giving a full breakdown of how the team has been doing defensively, more specifically with each individual's defensive matchup numbers. These are statistics that show how each individual player is doing in terms of the players they're guarding and their shooting percentages. Meaning, let's say Jonathan Kuminga is an example. How are the players he's defending shooting against him? There's actually data that tracks that. And I'm going to provide all that information on tomorrow's show, in addition to other team stats regarding how the Warriors are doing comparable to the NBA as a whole. I'm trying to see here if there's anything I missed. Jordan Hawkins had himself a game for the Pelicans tonight. He led all scores for them, and in fact, for both teams with 23 points. One of his three-pointers, I believe, was a bank shot. I never have respect for those, but he was 4-14 from deep, 9 of 21 overall. And again, the fact that the Warriors held Brandon Ingram to just 14 points, Zion Williamson to just 12 points, and both players played 32 minutes. So bravo to the Warriors defense for keeping that ship sealed. Let me see if there's anything else real fast with the Warriors players that I might have missed. The Warriors tonight. Oh, here's another good stat that needs to be mentioned. The Warriors at the half were leading this game. It was a very low-scoring affair overall, but they were leading this game 48-44 at the half. And a huge reason why the game was so close is because the Warriors had 12 turnovers in the first half. Second half, they had 2. Talk about cleaning it up. That was an identity for this team, for all their championships, for every season where they won a title. They were the best third-quarter team in the NBA. In the last 2 years, there has been a drop-off there. So to see the Warriors coming out like gangbusters to start the third quarter, and again, I don't know if that's a sign of the coaching, if that's a sign of the depth. Pinoy Reef format saying credit Pods for protecting the ball, but Podziemski was not one of the good players in terms of turnovers tonight. Podziemski had 4 of the team's 14 turnovers, but still, generally speaking, he's normally really good about that. So yeah, Bruce Morrow, the third quarter Warriors might be back. There's a strong possibility of that. Thank you, Jaleel, for the compliments. And again, there's no show, whether it's good or bad, without the audience. So I can't thank each and every one of you enough for that. And Derek Simmons who's been coming on the show, I think, almost every night. Thank you for the compliment, for the donation. And let's wrap up the program with the scoreboard. Let's see what else happened in the National Basketball Association on this October 30th, Wednesday. Wow, tomorrow's Halloween. I didn't know that. Okay. Well, everyone, hope you have a fun and safe Halloween on that note. I saw dressing up about 20 years ago. Side note, I could do a whole show just talking about Halloween parties I used to throw in San Francisco. Those were legendary. Like pro athletes were showing up. Oh, we'll save that for another day if the interest is there for me to share some wild stories about Halloween. But back in my party days, that was going on. Okay, going around the NBA, the scoreboard, the Charlotte Hornets defeated the Toronto Raptors 138-133. Talk about a high-scoring affair. Richards was the top performer. Who the hell is Richards for the Charlotte Hornets? I am embarrassed to admit that I don't know who the hell that is. Nick Richards, a 7-footer for the Charlotte Hornets through 4 or 5 games this year. How many have they played this season so far? 4. So the Charlotte Hornets have played 4 games of the season, and their starting center, Nick Richards, who I've never heard of before. He was a second-round pick in 2020, originally by the New Orleans Pelicans. He's currently averaging 10 points and 11 rebounds a game. He was the top performer for the Charlotte Hornets tonight, 24 points, 14 rebounds, 4 blocks. Excuse me, RJ Barrett, the top performer for the Toronto Raptors with 31 points, 8 assists. Scotty Barnes reportedly has some sort of, I believe, an orbital fracture. He's going to miss some time with that injury. The Raptors fall to 1-4 on the year. The Charlotte Hornets improved to 2-2. The LA Lakers, after a hot start, have dropped 2 straight. Dub Nation, you might enjoy that news. They got their asses kicked today in Cleveland by the Cleveland Cavaliers, who remain undefeated. The final score, 134-110. LeBron James had 26 points and 6 rebounds in this game. Jared Allen, a player that a lot of people, myself included, would love to see wearing a Warriors uniform, 20 points in this game, 17 rebounds. The Boston Celtics and Indiana Pacers played a game that was a blowout for almost the entirety of it. It was a nationally televised game on ESPN early, and then somehow the Celtics came back, tied it, sent it to overtime, but the Pacers, who again were blowing the Celtics out. I stopped watching the game early fourth quarter, and they were leading by nearly 20 points. Again, the Celtics come back, tie it. It goes to OT. The Pacers hang on for the win. Jason Tatum scoring 37 points, grabbing 8 boards and 4 steals in the loss for the Boston Celtics, their first loss of the season. 135-132 was the final in that game. Went to overtime. Pascal Siakam, 29 points, 11 rebounds as a top performer for the Indiana Pacers. The Detroit Pistons win their first game of the year, 105-95 over the Philadelphia 76ers, who still don't have Joel Embiid. The Sixers dropped to 1-3 on the year. They also still don't have Paul George. The Detroit Pistons, again, winning their first game of the year. They improved to 1-4. Cade Cunningham with 22 points, 7 assists in this game. Tyrese Maxey with 32 points and 7 assists in the loss for Philly. The Atlanta Hawks, this is the game people were talking about in the chat earlier. Jordan Poole has had a terrific start to the season, and that includes the Wizards winning their second game of the year. 133-120 was the final. The Atlanta Hawks dropped to 2-3, I believe, if I see that correctly, while the Wizards improved to 2-2. Trae Young had 35 points and 15 assists in this one. Koulibaly with 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 steals for the Wizards. But again, Jordan Poole also had a great has had a great start to the season. The former Warrior guard, who was a pivotal part of that championship team, had 24 points in tonight's effort to go with 9 assists and 3 rebounds. And Jordan Poole on the season, and this is through 4 games, is averaging 22 points per game, 5 assists per game, and he's shooting 51.2% from the field. Not bad. He's also shooting on the year from deep. Wow. I'm sorry for the pause there, but if this is correct, courtesy of ESPN, Jordan Poole is currently shooting 61.5% from deep to start the year. I mean, granted, it's 4 games, but still, that is impressive. That's a pretty wild clip. So again, the Wizards improved to 2-2. The Hawks fall to 2-3. The New York Knicks defeated the Miami Heat 116-107. Karl Anthony Towns with his breakout game for the Knicks tonight. He had 44 points and 13 rebounds. Tyler Hero in the loss for the Heat, 34 points and 7 assists. The Chicago Bulls are surprising a lot of people to start the season. Zach LaVine is one of the reasons why. The Bulls defeated the Orlando Magic tonight, 102-99 at the United Center in Chicago. The Bulls improved to 3-2. The Magic fall to 3-2. Josh Giddey in this game, 20 points, 11 rebounds. Paolo Banchero, 31.7 rebounds following his first 50-point game of his career. But Zach LaVine, I just want to bring up his stats. He only had 11 points in this game, but he's had a strong start to the season, and his health has always been one of the biggest factors for him. But so far, through 4 games of the season, he's averaging 26 points per game, shooting 55.2% from the field, 45.7% from deep. So Zach LaVine, his trade value, similar to Andrew Wiggins, starting to improve. The Brooklyn Nets improved to 2-3, defeating the Memphis Grizzlies 119-106. Dennis Schroeder, 33 points, 8 assists in the win. Jaren Jackson Jr., 30 points and 3 steals in the loss for the Grizzlies. The San Antonio Spurs were defeated on the road. They traveled north on the 35. I believe that's a freeway that connects Texas to Oklahoma. The OKC Thunder remain undefeated. They defeated San Antonio 105-93. Chris Paul, the former Golden State Warrior. Yes, that sounds weird, but it's true. 14 points, 9 assists for Chris Paul. Lou Dort, 20 points, 6 rebounds in the win for the 4-0 OKC Thunder. And finally, a game that tipped off at 7:30, which is late no matter how you spin it, at the Intuit Dome or Center or whatever they call that place. The Clippers losing, as was mentioned early on this program via the audience. Thank you very much. I believe it was Abraham DeLeon, who mentioned that. 106-105, the final score there. Portland improving to 2-3 on the year. The Clippers dropping to 2-2. 106-105, the final. Anthony Simons, 25 points, 6 assists in the win. Norman Powell with 30 points in the loss. Really quickly as well, because I don't think I did it. Oh, and Damian LaRoche saying Josh Giddey at 26. What did I say? 20? My apologies for that. Thank you for the correction. Steve White adding Jordan Poole balled out. You're absolutely correct. And really quickly, I'm supposed to do this at the beginning of the show. I apologize, but better late than never. Have to give some love to the official sponsor of Golden Days, and that's Bet Online. And again, my sincerest apologies. I'm supposed to do that at the beginning of the show. In all the excitement, I forgot. So quickly, some love for Bet Online. Basketball fans, it is that time of year again. The NBA is back from opening tip-off. The buzzer beaters. Bet Online has you covered with the best odds, biggest promotions, and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. And this season, every game matters. Bet Online has every stat, matchup breakdown, and live odds to bet on during the game. And it's not just the NBA. Bet Online has odds on everything from football, Major League Baseball playoffs, which is now over. So I guess maybe I should stop saying that. Congratulations to the LA Dodgers for beating the piss out of the New York Yankees. The NHL. And for 6 more days, you can bet on the election. That is next Tuesday. All I will say about that is if you live in Sonoma County, please vote yes on J. It is a bond measure designed to end factory farming. Factory farming is vile. It leads to reduced quality in the food we eat. It leads to animal cruelty. All these crazy viruses, COVID, everything else, largely stems from virus mutations from animals that are kept close together. Animal cruelty turns around and dishes the karma back to us in that form. The point is, vote yes on Jay, please. If you live in Sonoma County, I will not interject my opinion on the presidential election other than to say, just vote. Just there are in the history of humanity, people, millions of people have died fighting for the right to have a voice, and that's what democracy is. So please, just vote. That's all I'm going to ask, and that's all I'm going to opine on when it comes to politics on this program, with the exception of Jay. If you live in Sonoma County in the San Francisco Bay Area, vote yes on Jay, please. Head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online. The game starts here. Any final thoughts? Yeah, Damian LaRoche, poor cows and chickens in California. You're absolutely right. Is that it? Steve, I got some Giants fans and the bitter that I congratulated the Dodgers. Sorry about that. I don't have a stake in the game. I was an A's fan. Now I just have no team to root for in baseball, but what are you going to do? That's it. Warriors win one last time. They don't just win, they dominate 104-89. I'll be back tomorrow. Usually 3 p.m. is when I start. Follow me on Twitter at Surf Journalist, on Threads at Dog Wild. The program is available on all social media platforms at Golden Days Pod. That is the best way for you to know everything about the show. I usually announce what time shows start and all that stuff. But the next program is going to be a breakdown of the defense. Who's playing well, who isn't playing well defensively. You'll find out right here. Until then, thank you again. Go Warriors. That was a hell of a game, hell of a win, hell of a start. And we'll be back at this soon. And thank you to the audience, as always. Again, this does not exist without you. So thank you so much. And see you soon. Bye-bye.